Good evening, boys and girls. Welcome back. It is Monday night and back with Dragon Force Racing League for race 11 of Season 9. This is the penultimate round of the season and we're at the Circuit Americas in the US of A. Short qualifying 18 minutes followed by 28 laps of the Circuit of the Americas coming up shortly. Just loading through into the main lobby. Looks like we've got a fairly full grid for this evening's event as well, which is brilliant for the penultimate round of the season, and a title fight in contention which could go down to the wire for next week's grand finale back home here in Silverstone for the finale next week. So be sure to tune in next week, like and subscribe for a automatic reminder of that on the day. We're just loading through into the qualifying session and we'll give a rundown of the order as we go through. At the minute there are 3 drivers in contention for the title for this season. They are Jimmy in the Mercedes, Donarjun in the Alfa Romeo, and I am Zach in the Williams. So 3 different constructors there in the top 3 of the drivers' standings as we speak. And it all could well come down to having 2 great races to close the season out. And we've got a wet session here for qualifying as well. With it being as heavy rain as we are seeing, it very well could be for the race as well. So this really is going to test the drivers to the best of their ability. US of A and the Circuit of the Americas Sector 1 is known for its twists and curves. Track limits really do play a key role here in the race as well. Let's ride aboard with Jimmy, first one out and one of the 3 in title contention for the season. So we'll keep an eye on the Mercedes driver quite a lot through this evening. We're hoping we'll have an absolutely fantastic battle at the front to bring you this evening. And a little bit of a slide there as Jimmy heads out on track. First driver out for this wet qualifying session, and we'll hopefully set a representative time to give us a provisional pole time. We're just riding on board as he goes on his outlap through Sector 1, and you can already see how wet it is out there on track at this moment in time. The driver's going to be trying to keep well off the curbs while not leaving too much space out there on track and utilising every bit they can to get the fastest lap time possible. 14 drivers in at the minute, so may have 1 or 2 drop in during the session as well, which would be quite good to see a few more on track later on. So let's keep an eye on that. But for now it looks like about half the grid have made their way onto track, and it is certainly wet tyre conditions. I don't think anyone would be quite silly enough to opt for the intermediate tyre as we go around and just riding on board with the Mercedes driver. You can see how tentative it is around the track. Likelihood of a safety car at the Circuit of Americas? Well, in fact, it's actually one of the tracks where you tend to be a little bit rarer on your safety cars, so you don't always see one here. However, there is obviously opportunities that could bring out a safety car, and therefore in this sort of weather it could bring into play strategies, as you see Jimmy bailing and off his outlap. So next one on track is one of the Ferraris. It looks like your boy Bizen there, and he looks like a bit of a cork. Yep. Case Jennett's just left the session. I don't know if that's an internet connectivity issue for him, so hopefully it won't be. Hopefully he'll be back with us very shortly indeed. There we go then, so your boy Bizen, first one out and going to be first one to attempt a lap for his bid for provisional pole position for this evening. So let's ride on board with the Ferrari driver. He's had a very hit and miss season, although had an absolutely fantastic result last time out. So let's see if he can repeat that this evening. Maybe the wet conditions will appeal to him. Jimmy has retired from the session there. That is in the pit lane. So Jimmy and one of the title contenders will not set a time in this qualifying session for this evening. So will mean he starts at the back of the grid, pending that all drivers do manage to test the time during this qualifying session. 14.5 minutes left in the session already, so time is ticking. Obviously it's given time for the drivers to get set up on that they fancy, and for us to see the first cars go through their outlaps. So the back straight then, long DRS zone as they head down into the back end of Sector 2, and again Sector 3 is a very technical sector for the drivers, so only Sector 2 can they have a moment just to grasp their breath back, but DRS there as well, so the lead car in a train, once DRS is enabled, if it is enabled, weather pending, could mean that drivers are having to defend quite hard down there. Certainly is a large advantage getting the DRS through Sector 2. And just the two DRS zones here, which is in Sector 2 on the back straight and the start-finish straight. We've got a Mercedes off at Sector 1, and Zach there as well in the Williams, getting a 5-place grid penalty, so I'm not quite sure what's happened there between himself and Carl Brincom. But we'll try and get an update on that shortly. Your boy Bizen, first one over the line in a 151.9 and instantly beaten by the Haas of Prestivi, doing a 150.8 there. One of the AlphaTauris looking to come around the corner. It is Clarkey. Clarkey also racing a few other leagues. Not seen him in here before. I think he's reserving tonight. So let's see what he manages to do on the wet tyre this evening. He did invalidate on that first attempt, so we'll let him go round once more. Next driver that will be on a lap then. Let's just see who it is. It will be the other Haas driver. Is actually on an out lap, so we'll join back later on. And we believe that this is not going to be a timed lap here from Carbrincon. He did have a incident earlier on in this lap with I'm Zach. I'm Zach is out of qualifying due to that incident, so we didn't quite catch that. It'd be interesting to hear what has happened. Just trying to look if he's got any wing damage or anything like that. Nothing I can see, so I do expect him to go on for a hot lap on the back end of this. No, in fact he is bailing into the pit lane, so we'll see him a little bit later hopefully, and hopefully we won't have both Mercedes starting at the back of the grid. Okay, one of the McLarens coming around the final sector. It is Kimi coming through, and certainly looks to be putting the power down. It's right on board. It is certainly valid at the minute. Where is this going to put him in the standings? Slow but steady for Kimi, and he's managed just to drip feed points in for the McLaren team through the season, but 149.0, so 1.8 seconds quicker than nearest rival for the time being. Does that mean the track is maybe getting a little bit faster as the cars head out onto the track? More, we'll keep an eye on that as we go on. Your boy Bizen coming back across the line again and improves his time to 150.4, 1.4 second improvement as Don Arjun and one of our title contenders goes and sets the pace on a 148.2, 8 tenths quicker than the nearest competitor at this moment in time. So the Alfa Romeo currently on top. And is that your boy Bizen had a... I know he was trying to get out of the way of the Alfa Romeo there, and I think actually when he was getting out of the way he caught the curb and ended up in a wall. Front wing damage there then, and your boy Bizen heading back to the pit lane. In the midst of all that, ZX Josh has also set time, a 150.0 there. So in the middle, I'm sure there's more to come from the Williams driver later on in this session. I did say Williams, I do apologise, it is an Alpine driver. Apologies for that. Okay then, Sean heading through the final sector in the Haas. So let's see what he can do on this run. There we go, struggling to get the power down. You see how hard it is for the drivers, and 148.7 puts him half a second down on the top spot for the time being, but firmly in second place there for the Haas driver. And H. Collins also setting his first time in the Alfa Romeo, 150.4, but some 2 seconds off his teammate at this moment in time. Okay, Clarkey is next one on a lap then, heading around. A lot of these drivers will opt for a second or third run on the same set of tyres. Obviously the wet tyres do wear very, very nicely indeed, so you will get very long stints out of them, and if it does stay like this for the race and it doesn't switch to intermediates, you're looking for just a one stop race this evening. If there is a period where we do head to intermediates and maybe even to the soft tyre, dependent on the rain, we could see multiple different strategies going on, and that really can change the outcome. Prestivi in the Haas also setting a new fastest lap, taking up second in the standard to 1:48.6. So cars certainly getting quicker as they go for their second, third laps. Clarkey, what is his first time over the line, comes in the AlphaTauri 1:47.4, 3/10 shy of provisional pole position at the moment, and well, it's certainly going to be a great battle up the top for this. Now Clarkey is a reserve for the league, is not in that title fight, but can he cause a spanner in the works for one of the title fight drivers this evening? We'll have to wait and see. We've already got 2 of the 3 starting at the back of the grid. That is Jimmy and Zach for not setting a lap time, and Donovan currently on provisional pole position, so that may be a little bit of a head start for the Alfa Romeo driver. Hopefully he won't get ahead of himself for celebrations, but we will have to wait and see. Let's see who else is out and about then. Who's that coming up towards the line? Is that Collins? It certainly is. So this is the second of the 2 Alfa Romeo drivers looking to improve his time on his first run, a 50.4 on the first run, and quite some margin off his teammate. Very tentative through the final corner there, and yeah, that was not a representative lap, so I believe he's going to be going on to a lap now, and he certainly is. The ERS now in use. He heads up into turn 1. The climb up into turn 1 as well, very big climb. A couple of years ago we saw a massive crash with Kimi Räikkönen on the entry there. It is a little bit of a pinch point on the apex of the curbs. Hopefully we won't have any incidents on lap 1 this evening, and everyone will get through first couple of turns safely, and this won't be an improvement for H. Collins as he invalidates, and round goes the Alfa Romeo driver as we just see him just about keeping it out of the barriers there and into the gravel. So he's now got to head back into the woods. In fact, I think he's managed to just about pop it into the wall there as well, so he's had to back out of that. So Alfa Romeo heading back to the pit lane. Majority of cars look like they have now head back to the pit lane for the time being. Trying to keep an eye on Sean. Is he on a representative lap or not? It certainly looks like he's using a little bit of ERS, so let's keep an eye out. And yeah, no, so not representative lap coming up here for Sean, we don't believe, so we will leave him to close his lap out in peace, and we expect him here to peel off into the pit lane. No, he's going to go around again, in fact. Okay, a 1:48.7 on the board so far. Don't see him beating it on this occasion. Yeah, 2 thousandths of a second shy, so very close indeed for Sean there, but not quite on this particular lap. Viper then heading out for his first laps of the session in the second of the McLarens. Now, back into the season's been a little bit kind to Viper. It started off as a very rough first half of the season, but getting it all together in the last couple of races and scoring valuable points for the McLaren team. Now they are around 15 points behind Haas at the bottom of the table at the moment, but Haas currently looking very strong in 3rd and 4th place as it stands for the grid this evening. Obviously it's not where you start, it is all about where you finish, but we'll see what the McLaren team can do to get on terms with the Haas guys. Just to note, the Mercedes of Carbrincon has gone back out since the tangle with Zach earlier on, and looks like he's coming up to complete his first representative lap. He is just rounding the final corner, so we should get time on the board any time now. And we do a 1:49.7 there, so right in the middle of the field for the time being. We've got Viper on our screens at the minute and coming over the line, and his provisional time at 1:49.9 there, so going again in 8th place, right in the middle of the field for the start of this evening's race as it stands. 5 minutes left of qualifying, and time certainly set to improve, you'd expect, but the rain really does look like it's hammering down now, and a lot of drivers seem pretty comfy sat in the pits there, so maybe keeping the spare tyres for the race. Sean just coming over the line and improves his time by 4/10 of a second there, taking him to a 48.3. 4 lap old tyres there for Sean as well, so he's only using the one set, we believe, in qualifying and going to save the others for the race. Might well mean these guys have been indicated already that is a wet race. They would have seen that on their loading screen, something that as a spectator we don't get to see. So we will find out as we load in and through the session. Looks like he's got his teammate right behind there as well. No, it's not. In fact, it was Don Arjun, so he's gone through. So the provisional pole position man there in the Alfa Romeo deciding he wants to go out for another crack at it. Alright, let's see who we've got coming around to the end of the laps then. So, let's ride on board with the Mercedes. So coming around the final corner, 149.7 on the board so far. Can he get on terms with those up ahead? Let's have a look. And he certainly can. Massive improvement there. 7.5 tenths of a second sees him to 48.9 and up into 5th place for the time being. Yellow flag in sector 1 there. It is one of the Alfa Romeos. There we are. It is H. Collins. It looks like he's had enough at the back end of the S section there, and he's just waiting for a safe place to rejoin as the Haas comes through, and now he's got an opportunity to rejoin the track, and he will be back in for a front wing change. However, I don't think he's going to manage to get around the circuit in time. 3 minutes left of qualifying. He's got to get around the circuit twice and a pit stop in there. I highly doubt we'll see him back out on track to improve his time this evening. Okay, next car coming around, it is not Casey, in fact, it is the other Alpine. It is Zenix Josh then, coming through second to the last corner and coming through the final corner, and the Alpine driver has invalidated on that attempt, and so we expect him to go once again. Slightly odd that Frenzy and Casey there not setting a time and have not yet left the pit lane, so unless they do decide to leave pit lane at this point, we will not see them setting a time this evening for qualifying, which is absolutely bizarre. Looks like the McLaren of Kimmy just coming out now will just about get around in time to set a lap, but he's going to have to get his foot down. Right, who have we got coming around to set final lap times then? The Mercedes driver once again coming around on fresh set, and he's losing it a little bit there in the penultimate corner and bailing out into the pit lane there, so it will not improve his time. Don Arjun is coming through the final sector as well. Let's go on board with Viper. Looks like he's trying to improve, and he is also crashed out just as we went to join him in that final part of the sector, penultimate corner, out onto the curb and into the wall, so he'll be heading into the pits and will not improve in this session. Don Arjun then, our provisional pole position man, on a 47.193 at the minute, coming around the final couple of corners, and can he improve that time at all? URL Clarkey is out on a lap and going to try and challenge for pole position this evening. Pro Stevie also out on a lap, but that is a large margin. These two at the top times really are in a class of their own at the minute, and 46.8 and a 6/10 margin now for Donovan. Let's join Clarkey through his final sector. He is not going to improve. He has invalidated, but he does have time to start again if he goes for one more flying lap, so we'll give him the opportunity to get on board with that lap. Zenix Josh coming around again. Can he improve on the 49.2? No, he can't on this occasion. 3 seconds slower, so he's got one more crack at the whip for it, and he got all the ERS there to deploy through the lap, so I do think that was a planned situation, and Clarkey just about to restart his next lap, so we'll ride on board with the AlphaTauri driver a little bit later on. Pro Stevie also coming through the final part of the sector at 48.6. Can he close that gap to the top, or is he going to be stuck down there? He does not improve and will stay in 4th place. He's got 20 seconds left in the session. Can he do anything on the final run? Sean is out of qualifying as well, will not improve from 3rd position, so he could be under threat from his teammate here on this final run. We'll keep an eye on him as they go around. Don Arjun is coming through the final sector once again, just starting the final sector, so we'll ride on board with the Alfa Romeo driver, and the checkered flag is now out for the session, so Casey Jennett will not set a time in this session. I Am Zach caught up in a tangle earlier on with the Mercedes of Carbon. Jimmy and Frenzy also not setting a time in this session. And Donald definitely not going to improve on this lap and going into the pit lane. So main contender to take away pole position at the last stage would be Clarkey, so we'll keep an eye as he comes around. We have got one car on track ahead of that, which is the car of Zenix Josh on a 49.2 at the minute. A couple of tenths will see him a couple of places up the order. Let's see if he's on track to do so as he comes around the penultimate corner. It certainly looks like a slightly improved time. If he can get a good exit, and a little bit tentative on the exit there, and he does improve his time of 48.6 with a half a second found on that final run and a couple of places there for Zenix Josh. Great drive there to improve his position on board with Clarkey, and it is another invalidated lap. He will not improve, he will not take pole position. Will he keep on the front row when these final cars come over the line? Prestevie coming around now. Has he improved enough to jump up the order? He has, only up to third place though. Clarkey just hanging on there, and just your boy Bizen in the Ferrari to come across the line, and he's across the line there. Don Arjun holds on to pole position for tonight's race at the Circuit of Americas, with Clarkey as company in the AlphaTauri on the front row. And confirmation there of the standings after qualifying. Haas in a really good starting positions, 3 and 4 on the grid, so locking out row 2. So next Josh in 5th there, Kimmy in 6th, Carbrincon in 7th, Viper in 8th, your boy Bizen in 9th, and Collins in 10th. Rounding out the timed finishers, Zach, Casey, Jimmy and Frenzy all failing to set a lap time for one reason or another. To note, Carbrincon has got a 5 grid position penalty based with the collision with Zach earlier on, so he will in fact start behind Zach in P11. No, sorry, it would be P12 for the Grand Prix in a few moments' time. Alright, and drivers just selecting their final strategy for this evening, and they all have the opportunity now to select their fuel loads as well. We have got dry conditions here, so from the wet qualifying and into the dry sunshine of the US of A, and the clock starts to tick down as these drivers just pop in any final preparation, and the majority will probably have a swig of a drink as well as we go through. Clark has just left the session. That's very odd timing for a driver to leave the session as we're loading onto the grid. There will be a formation lap here as well, so we'll follow the drivers around. Hopefully Clark can get back in the session before we do begin, and especially as he is due to start on the front row there. So we'll certainly keep an eye out for that at the bottom of the screen. All drivers seem to be away from their grid slots, other than Casey there has not left his grid spot. Very bizarre indeed. He didn't set a time in qualifying either, so is that Casey not taking part? He is now underway in fact, and we've got one of the Mercedes around as well. Casey has now left the session, so I do think that might be the case, that he has disconnected. Maybe some internet connection issues there for the Alpine driver. So just waiting for these drivers to come around, and you see them all weave in to get heat into those tyres. Just having a look at the tyres, obviously something we haven't really talked about. There is now tyre choice as we've come from wet onto dry. So from qualifying, they do not all have to start on the wet tyres, obviously. So rounding it out, majority they're going for the medium tyre strategy. So medium to soft and a one-stop strategy for the majority. Zenix, Josh, Viper, Bison and Cobrincon looking to go on a aggressive first stint on the soft tyre. And then on to... I'd personally be looking towards the hard compound for the second stint, be a little bit safer. With the medium tyre runners, you could do it in a one-stop, but you'd be very limited on tyres at the end of the race. A two-stop and a medium soft would be a much better strategy for those out there this evening. Good luck to all the drivers, and let's have a clean race for the penultimate round and race 11 of Season 9. So drivers just coming around onto the grid. If you haven't already, like and subscribe, and you'll be able to follow the rest of this penultimate race with us this evening. Other events and streams coming through the week on multiple different games, and next week's finale as well in Silverstone a week from now. So we see the final few cars line up on the grid. There we are. We've got a good view for the start of this US Grand Prix. 5 lights on, lights are out, and away they go. Trying to take a look. Everyone seems to get away cleanly from the grid position. Good little battle going on out the back. Both Mercedes trying to get in the mix, but Clarkey trying to get tucked in and does manage to keep in P2. And there is a car around there. It looks like the Haas got caught up a little bit and backed into one of the Alpine drivers. I think it was Casey there after a great start, and an attack going on here with Clarkey as Clarkey gets passed by the Alpine, and they do tag each other, but Zenix Josh through into second place of this Grand Prix at the early stages. Sean right behind the AlphaTauri. Can he defend, or has he had a issue at the start of that race there, Clarkey? He'll be on the pounce now. Looks like the McLaren looking for a dive down the inside of Sean. Can he make it stick? Not quite now. On the exit though, can he do anything? No, he can't. And Clarkey there is not connected, so after he did leave the session during the interval between qualifying and the race, he has not reconnected. That is why Clarkey's car is going so slow. So these guys do still need to manoeuvre around the stricken AlphaTauri, and there goes Sean to get past and up into third place. Viper won't want to be sat there too long behind. He has now got a little bit of a train forming. There's a ride on board from your boy Bison trying to go down the inside, and round he goes, not gaining one place but 2 places at the same time. But he's got a battle now from Viper as they go through sector 3, and your boy Bison, an absolutely amazing placement of the car there to go down the inside and take 2 positions at the same time as Mercedes driver and Alfa Romeo go through, and Donajan there crossing the line first of all to end the first lap of the Grand Prix. As we see Prestivi going backwards a little bit there. Looked like he got overtaken by Jimmy on the exit of the final corner, and then Kimi followed through, and looks like he's going to try and go down the inside of the McLaren, and he has done so. Prestivi back up in 10th place. Kimi trying to fight back in 11th there. Battles up and down the grid here. We will try and keep up to date with all of those for you. Collins has just been passed by Jimmy. It looks like Collins may head off the track there a little bit, because he's now dropped quite a way behind the Mercedes driver, and a battle coming from behind, and through goes the Haas Prestivi trying to go around the outside there. Collins got pressure from both sides. Kimi gone all the way round. Go try to keep an eye on it there. Prestivi really well placed again. Kimi taking the cut back, and through he goes into 8th place and off into distance. Kimi has already got 3-second corner cutting penalty, as has Casey Jennett in the Alpine down at the back of the field. And sector 2 and 3 yellow flags there. Haven't quite picked up who that is for as of yet. These guys battling hard. Frenzy trying to go down and round the inside on the double right-hander of the Haas driver. Can't quite do it here. Nearly goes into the back of the Haas there, so has to little bail out there and steer out of it. So Haas 9th, Aston Martin in 10th at the moment. Okay, let's head back on up and quickly run through the order then. So from the top, Zenix Josh has managed to get into the lead of this race in the early stages. Sean into second place as well on the medium tyre there. Your boy Bisnett in third on the soft tyre. So those soft tyre runners really have moved on up the order, so certainly working for him in the opening stages. Don Aljon from the pole position down into fourth place as we speak. Viper in fifth, and the Mercedes 6th and 7th at this moment in time. Kimi in 8th place, Prostivi in 9th, and Frenzy up into 10th place there. Case Jennett, after a slow start, up into 11th. Zach in 12th, Collins 13th, and Clarkey 14th. Now those three at the back end that have all pit already. Collins onto the hard tyre, while Zach and Clarkey onto the soft tyre to go on full attack. Got Sean here up front, being passed by the Ferrari of your boy Bizen, and getting passed as well by Donald Jun in the title fight. Donald Jun really wants to get that race victory tonight. He could close out the gap to Jimmy, and that really will take it down to the wire for this championship for next week's grand finale. So we see this battle on board, and a bit of switching going on behind for 5th and 6th place between the Mercedes and McLaren driver. Seems to be switching in every corner. Let's just jump on board with them for a moment. There we are, and we'll ride on board just with these as they go round. And the other driver of Jimmy there, the other Mercedes, just getting in the mix and putting one down the inside of his teammate. I think that caught his teammate a little bit off guard there, and DRS wide open for the Mercedes driver as he goes down the inside, and well, very easy pass there by Jimmy, and as one of the title contenders, currently leading the Drivers' Championship by around 20 points. This really is a crucial pass. He wants to get right up there. Fastest laps being set left, right and centre. I'm not going to take too much into consideration from those for the time being. A lot can change during the race, so we expect those times to get much quicker as the fuel burns off. And the Alfa Romeo there looking for a move on the Ferrari. The Ferrari gets a slightly better exit, but with DRS wide open on the Alfa Romeo as he goes down the inside, and very straightforward pass there in the end for Don Arjun, and through into second place. Now going after the race leader Zenix Josh, 2 seconds up the road at this moment in time. Just to rejoin, Viper and Carbrincon still going at it for 6th position. The second Mercedes has already gone through now and up into the lead. These guys really are going wheel to wheel as they go through the twisting tracks and heading around USA. This really is a circuit where you need to get it right, and contact between the two drivers. The McLaren there just coming across, clipping the back of the Mercedes. Let's see where he rejoins the track. That was on the entry to the penultimate corner there, and that's disaster for the Mercedes driver from fight for 6th place down to 10th position, and getting attacked now down to 11th as Casey takes full advantage of the slow moving Mercedes there, and well, that's 5 positions drop due to that collision. It looked like a racing incident, but I'm sure that will be investigated after the race. The Aston Martin of Frenzy now putting pressure on Pro Stevie, going through the sweeping corners of sector 1, and we'll be looking to line up the driver for the DRS zone in sector 2 as they come through the final part of this first sector here at USA. And there he is going to come over the DRS detection line now and down into the braking zone, looking for a nice exit here off this corner. A little bit, it wasn't the best exit ever, but the overspeed from ERS being deployed, DRS wide open, and again it's another simple pass with the aid of DRS and Frenzy there in the Aston Martin up to P8. Further up the field then, Jimmy is looking to get past the other hat of Sean. Now Jimmy wants to get up on terms with his championship rival Donaldson as soon as possible. But at this moment in time, he's got a few cars between himself and the Alfa Romeo driver. There we go, your boy Bizon, just the cork in the bottle at the minute, but Sean making it incredibly hard to pass. Both drivers with DRS here, so that is not going to help the Mercedes driver try and get through, although he's going to look for a dive up into turn 1. Can he make it down the inside? As he does make it in the end. Do apologise, he managed to switch on to the other car there, but so Jimmy up into P4, and well, we'd expect him to dispatch the Ferrari driver very quickly indeed. Sean now going to try and keep on terms, grab the DRS and follow him through as they look to get past the Ferrari driver in a few moments time. We'll keep on board with Jimmy for this part. Looks like we've got a change at the front of the field as well. Donaldson has taken lead of the Grand Prix from Zenix Josh, and they're 1 second up the road from the Ferrari driver seen in front. Let's keep an eye and DRS wide open on the Mercedes then as they head down into the braking zone. Donaldson being repassed by Zenix Josh, and Zenix Josh getting passed again in the braking zone. Donaldson taking the cutback there, and the Mercedes there also through into third place as makes a pass in the braking zone on the Ferrari DRS again, and the overspeed there, and the Alpine there of Zenix Josh having a little bit of spin, and he is round. That's dropped into the back of that fight. Top 5 all within 3 seconds of each other at this moment in time. Zenix Josh has managed to get back together, and a very quick recovery there from the Alpine driver, but now at the back of this queue. Let's see if he can put some pressure on the Haas and Ferrari driver in the next couple of laps. He has got DRS as well, but has Sean in front, so a little bit of a DRS train starting to form here. A little bit further down then, Kimi and Prestivi swap positions as Kimi heads into the pit lane. Very early pit stop there for a driver. Is he having a front wing change? Let's have a little look. He's not. He's got a time penalty he's serving at the moment. Not quite sure what he got that for. So very interesting, and there is a front wing change there as well. I'm Zach back into the pits again for the second time in this race. What's he going on to on this occasion? It is a front wing change there, and another set of the soft tyres for the Williams driver. Not where he'd like to be at this moment in time. Alright then, Sean putting a bit of pressure on the Ferrari now, looking to take a podium this evening, and DRS down into the main braking zone, and nice easy there. Can the Ferrari make the cutback on the exit? No, he can't for the time being. Sean very quick to cover it off, and P3 for the Haas for the time being. I wonder, are those soft tyres now starting to get to the back end of their life, and the medium tyres starting to come in after 6 laps of use? Will be 7 laps across the line this time. The tyre span for the soft tyre is 11 laps, is for the best use. So we will keep an eye on that as we go through the session. The top 3 now all on medium tyres, followed by 3 sets of the softs, from 7th to 9th all mediums, and then we've got a whole range of softs and hards at the back of the field at this moment in time. Clarkey from the front row is running in last place at the minute after a incident early on in the Grand Prix, just getting a little bit tangled up in the first lap drama, and I think it just cost him a front wing end plate, which caused him the early pit stop in there. So sadly it didn't pay off for him in the opening part of this race. See what he can do throughout. I'm Zach, picking up a 3-second time penalty we just saw there on the screen as well. So the race itself is starting to settle down now. Lap 8 of 28, so just over a quarter of race distance so far. DRS wide open on the Ferrari, just about keeping in DRS range of the Haas driver in front, but you've got to feel that the Ferrari is starting to fall backwards and slip away from that podium fight for the time being. He is right on the back of the Haas driver now, but as we go through this sequence of corners in Sector 3, I really do think we're going to see the Haas driver start to pull away once again. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 2, can't quite see who that is there. It looks like one of the Alfa Romeos. It is Collins there in the start of Sector 2 at the first couple of corners of the S's. And let's see if he's got any damage on board there. He has, in fact. He's lost his right hand side front wing end plate, so that will be a pit stop yet again for the Alfa Romeo driver, and things really not going his way at the moment. Out front, Darjan leads by 1.7 seconds to his title rival Jimmy in the Mercedes. Sean 4 seconds behind there in the Haas, and being chased hard by your boy Bizen in the Ferrari on those soft tyres, but those soft tyres really must be starting to drop away soon, so your boy Bizen doing well to keep them alive for now and keep in that fight, but you've got to expect him to be heading to the pitch much earlier than those around him. Frenzy there in 5th place, 7 seconds back, but under threat from Viper and the McLaren, just 7/10 behind. Casey also had a great stint now, had a little bit of a wobbly start, but Casey now in the Alpine up to 7th position, and really starting to put a fight on through these midfield positions, so we'll keep an eye on this battle as we go. DRS wide open on the Alpine driver as well, and really is closing in quick on the McLaren. Can he do anything into the braking zone? And it's straight down the inside. I don't think there's anything that Viper can do on this occasion. He's looking for the cutback but can't quite manage it, and Casey there up into 6th place, and we'll now go chasing after Frenzy. Now Frenzy and Casey both started at the back end of the grid, so both drivers have had a lot of work to do. Jimmy also was down in that group at the back of the grid for the start of the Grand Prix as well, and he's up in 2nd place, so those guys who have just waited their time, it has paid off as Casey picked up a 3-second time penalty there. Time penalty is very easy to come by on this particular track. Just jumping on board now. Kimmy's got 9 seconds of penalties, Casey with 6, and then Sean, your boy Bizen, Viper, Zenix Josh, Zach, all on 3 seconds of time penalties as we speak. One of the McLarens in the pit lane. Who is that? It is Viper, and your boy Bizen also into the pits now for a set of soft tyres. So these guys going soft, and then we'd expect the medium tyre if either a safety car is deployed or towards the back end of the race around lap 18-19, you'd expect to see them into the pits. So lap 10 of this 28 lap Grand Prix. It is the penultimate round of the championship. Your two championship contenders are in 1st and 2nd position here. As see Collins there at the back of the grid getting a 3-second time penalty. So this championship really is heating up. Jimmy leading by around 20 points, and Kimmy is out of the Grand Prix. Not sure what's happened there for the McLaren driver. It is in the first part of the track. We've got yellows in sectors 1 and 2. That is because it is on the cusp of the cutover of the 2 sectors. Just trying to spot wall on board with Clarkey where the Stricker McLaren is. Can't actually see which particular wall he has gone into on this occasion, but it has been cleared. No safety car on this occasion, and the track is green once again. So the race continues, and the championship rivals 2 seconds apart at the top of the times on the same tyre compound, both looking for a one-stop strategy. Sector 2, yellow flag, and Collins is out of this Grand Prix. Is that going to prompt a safety car? It hasn't shown up as of yet. Still double yellows being shown in Sector 2. And green track, it seems, there as we ride on board with the race leader. It looks to me that we're not going to get a safety car for that yet again. 2 incidents there within space of half a lap, and no safety car released or VSC in this race so far. Jimmy 1.8 seconds behind the race leader now, closing in a couple of tenths on that last lap. We'll keep an eye on his progress as we go through the race. This is now the closest battle on track as well, so very nice to watch the championship rivals going head to head in this round. If Donajan does take victory this evening without fastest lap, and Jimmy finishes without fastest lap in P2, Jimmy will have a, let me get this right, 13-point advantage going into the final round next week. Casey, another 3-second time penalty there. Again, it looks like it was through the S's. And Clarkey hit into the pits yet again at the back of this Grand Prix. With the amount of soft tyres he's had, you'd expect him to be wanting to go for fastest lap, and getting well out of the way there as well of the championship competition at the front of the grid as Clarkey gets lapped by the leaders. Set to 3, yellow flag, very quickly cleared there, just someone running wide, as we see a lot of people now taking pit stops out already. Casey in the Alpine and Prestivi in the Haas into the pit lane. Casey opting for a set of the soft tyres. Let's see what Prestivi's going to go on, and he's onto the soft tyres as well for the second run. So both drivers there have now used 2 different compounds of tyre, and if there was a safety car in the next few laps, you'd expect everyone to dive onto the mediums to the end. If those drivers did start on the medium tyre, such as your top 4 currently, then you'd expect them onto the hard to the end, but certainly not the optimal strategy around here. To be honest, those top 4, I'd expect to see them try and drag it out to 1 stop, which is what I believe they're trying to do at this moment in time as we ride on board still with this lead battle, but we will have to wait and see. The gap to the leader, 2.5 seconds at the moment in favour of the Alfa Romeo. A little bit further down the grid, and let's have a little flick through, see what everyone's up to. And Viper then 1.2 seconds behind Zenix Josh, and closing the gap. A little bit of a wiggle there at the end of the main straight, but now getting on the border and cusp of DRS as well, so the McLaren driver really trying to push that Alpine up ahead. Now the Alpine is on medium tyres against Viper's soft tyres. Both cars have recently stopped, and was he just inside the cusp for DRS there? I think he might have been. DRS will be activated for the McLaren. If he can get a good exit off this corner, he'll be able to close right up to the back of the Alpine driver, certainly too far back to make the pass at this moment in time. So it's just moving to the inside and just wiggling around a bit. No advantage there for the McLaren, certainly closes the gap up, but Zenix Josh keeps the lead for the time being. Casey Jennett, just to know, in the other Alpine is also closing in at the back of this battle. There it is. So it is a Alpine sandwich there for the remaining McLaren in this Grand Prix, as the Viper there really taking a tighter line compared to Josh up ahead as they head down, and DRS detection once again. Let's see who gets the better drive off this corner onto the main back straight. And DRS will be enabled for Viper and Casey Jennett. Will there be a double pass here? Will there be an attack on Josh? Let's watch this through. Josh moving to the right hand side there, and he is now dead in the middle. Casey Jennett up the inside, and Josh just holding on to keep Viper behind at this point. Casey Jennett getting 2 places in 1 as the McLaren tries to go down the inside there, and it doesn't quite work out for the McLaren driver there as he tries to get back past, but doesn't manage it at this moment in time. So Alpine 6th and 7th running around together, but you've got to think that Viper looked pretty tasty here, and up into turn 1 you'd expect the McLaren to get through with ease with the use of DRS. Josh doesn't have DRS either off his teammate. His teammate could have given him DRS there, and they really could have played a bit of a team game, but haven't on this occasion. And the McLaren looking for a dive there up the inside. Can he make it? He's not quite made it. Josh using all the room on the outside of the track there, and the McLaren just not able to get the drive off the corner. I've got a feeling we're not going to see this battle end right now. This is going to go on for a little while, so we'll keep on board with it. Zenix Josh leading Viper then at this moment in time. This is a battle for 7th place, and the closest battle on track at this moment in time. Viper just dropping back a little bit to 6/10 behind at this moment. We'll get DRS again though, and Josh very quick to try and break the toe. And yeah, DRS is open on McLaren, but closing. Will he have an opportunity going into the bottom corner? He's going to try it on the brakes and thinks better of it, and tucked back in 4/10 back, so a couple of tenths gain there for the McLaren driver. And you see how close these guys are to each other at this moment in time. Jimmy has now head into the pit lane off those medium tyres onto the soft, so that will be a two-stop strategy for the Mercedes driver. Sean also coming off those medium tyres, you expect onto a soft strategy, and it certainly is now. It's been confirmed. Your boy Bizen jumped up into 4th place through that as well, but he will be due another pit stop at some point this evening. So out front, Darjan still leads the Grand Prix, and now out by 20 seconds out in front there, and trying to pull it out to a one-stop strategy. If he can do that, he could win this very, very comfortably. Jimmy there in 3rd place, just half a second behind Frenzy. Frenzy still yet to pit, so Jimmy is still 2nd on the road in terms of technicalities, as we're watching on board with this Alpine and McLaren fight. Great fight going on here, and Jimmy going through on Frenzy to retake P2 on track, although you expect to see Frenzy in any time now as they head around the final sector. DRS wide open again on the McLaren, but still not able to do anything, so I think we'll rejoin this a little while later, and let's see if he can do anything now. He's going to have a look down the inside. In fact, can he make it stick, or is Josh going to run around the outside? Josh back around the outside of the McLaren, and these guys having probably really enjoying this, I'd expect, as a terms of a battle, but I think the McLaren driver really not happy with the fact that he can't quite make the move stick, and a little bit of a wobble there from Viper on the exit curb drops him over a second back now, so a little bit of safety zone there that he's just given his rival. Lap 16 of 28, just over halfway through this Grand Prix then. 12 cars still running out of the 14 starters. We've had our championship leaders, Jimmy and Donarjan, are the two in control of this Grand Prix. Jimmy leads by 20 points in the drive stand at the moment. Donarjan leads the Grand Prix as we speak by 0.6 of a second. The undercut really was powerful there. It didn't quite come out for the Mercedes driver, but DRS now open for Jimmy, and could this be a turning point in this Grand Prix? Can Jimmy now sail through to the lead? Now, if he outscores Darjan by more than 5 points, Jimmy will win and wrap up the championship this evening. So if Jimmy does win and Darjan drops to 2nd, even with fastest lap, Darjan would not be able to win the championship. So if Jimmy wins tonight, that is the championship confirmed and concluded. So this is really on the line now. If the Alfa Romeo driver can keep the Mercedes behind by the end of this Grand Prix, we will see it go down to the final race in Silverstone. A 134.0 there from our championship leader, and 3/10, 4/10 as we're flicking to and fro. So really it is game on now. This is it. This could be the final battle to confirm the Drivers' Championship. There is still a fight to be had in the Constructors going into the final round. That will not be decided tonight. Alfa Romeo do lead that at the minute, but Mercedes are closing them down. If they can get double points finish here tonight, Mercedes, they really could take it to Alfa Romeo in the final race. So Constructors' Championship will not be decided tonight. However, the Drivers' Championship, if Jimmy does win tonight and outscores Darjan by 5 or more points, he will be the Drivers' Champion of Season 9. As he looks to make a move down the inside of the Alfa Romeo driver, and he does so very cleanly, and through he goes and released into the lead of this Grand Prix. And nothing much more that the Alfa Romeo driver can do there. Can he stick within DRS distance and try and pick up the slipstream going into turn 1 is his next attempt as they come through the final sector of the lap. Frenzy in 3rd place there, still yet to pit, so he will drop down, and your boy Bizen will be then in place to take 3rd place on track. Now that would be 2 podiums in a row if he can keep that together, which would be an outstanding result for the Ferrari driver. Here we are then, the Alfa Romeo trying to go down the inside of the Mercedes, and he does so very nicely indeed. And once again, these championship rivals trade in places. 10 laps left to go, and you'd think it was the last shootout of the last lap. That is the way this could turn out this evening. Darjan trying to give everything he's got to keep this championship alive for the final round next time out in Silverstone. Can he do that tonight? He's going to be giving it absolutely everything there to keep this Mercedes behind. Both cars on fresh soft tyres pretty much, just a lap separating the two sets of tyres, so they will be looking to go to the end of the Grand Prix unless there is a late safety car. Will one of them want to dive in for fresh softs, or will they both dive in? And trying to go round the outside there, can he get the cutback? The Mercedes driver goes for the cutback, and through goes Jimmy. Once again, the Alfa Romeo not going to be sending it up the inside there into the double right-hander and settling for second place on the track at this moment in time. Yet again, he's going to look for the DRS going up the main straight, and what a battle we've got going on here for this Drivers' Championship. The championship has come alive. We've seen these guys go wheel to wheel. We've seen incidents between the two drivers throughout the season, but it all comes down to this: can they keep this championship alive for one more Grand Prix, or will it be settled tonight? Darjan 2/10 quicker than his last lap, and closing, but can't quite get on terms with Jimmy. Jimmy having a little bit of a lock up there, but still stays in front and gets a good drive off the exit of turn 1 and through the S's they go. See how close the Alfa Romeo can keep to the back of that Mercedes. Staring at the gearbox, not where he wants to be right now. He'd rather the Mercedes in his mirrors, but what can he do to respond after the Mercedes driver getting back through? He is going to get DRS through this next straight if he can keep it clean on the run down to the turn. Yes, he will. So he's within DRS range of the Mercedes driver. He's going to get a good slipstream here, and the advantage of ERS being used as well there from the Alfa Romeo driver. DRS wide open. It looks like he's going to get this pass done very early on in the straight. There he goes, and Darjan back into the lead of this Grand Prix. The Mercedes driver going very, very deep on the brakes, makes it very nicely into the corner, but can't do anything to cut back on this occasion. Alfa Romeo back on top. If you guys at home are all watching and enjoying this, well, this really is going to be a long 10 laps for these guys to drive out to settle the Drivers' Championship, and absolutely brilliant to be involved in this fight. There we go then, you can see the rear wing open. There we are, the Mercedes driver of Jimmy, 8/10 back, so a little bit further back than he has been on the last few occasions. So got some work to do. It's just lost out a little bit in sector 3 there, and 6/10 back, and not quite close enough to the back of the Alfa Romeo at this moment in time. The Mercedes tyres just one lap older than that of the Alfa Romeo as they head through the S's, and you can see how winding those S's are to get right. Neither driver has got a penalty yet, but if one of these drivers did pick up a 3-second time penalty for cutting one of those corners, it could play crucial at the end of this Grand Prix, as they are so closely battling on track. Case Jennett down into the pit lanes, the Alpine going for a fresh set of softs to end this Grand Prix. And Mercedes driver not being able to close up again, so we'll join back on this battle very shortly. Just to run back through the rest of the order, Sean and the Haas made it up into P3, 4-lap old soft tyres there for the Haas driver, but has got a penalty looming. Frenzy has made his one and only pit stop onto the soft tyre. Fresh softs there, 6 seconds back on the Haas driver. If he can get within the range of those penalties, Frenzy and the Aston Martin from the back of the grid set to potentially take a podium position this evening. Zenix Josh in the Alpine on 10-lap old mediums. Is he going to bail onto a set of soft tyres? You certainly expect so in the closing stages. Pro Stevie in the second of the Hasses in P6. Your boy Bizant and Viper are battling just behind this battle. So ride on board for the time being to see what will happen. Can Viper bite back at the Ferrari driver? And nothing he can do at this moment in time. Four-way tussle going on here for the midfield. This is P5 through to P8. We've got battling. Donald picks for a 3-second time penalty at the front of the field, and that is going to be crucial for this. He now needs to either finish 3 seconds clear of Jimmy, or Jimmy needs to pick up a 3-second time penalty, else the championship is over, and he may well have just gifted it to the Mercedes driver. If the Alfa Romeo driver cannot pull out a 3-second time gap, or the Mercedes driver does not manage to oh, we've got a pass there. In fact, Jimmy's got past as well, so Darjan really got the battle to take to him, and tries to go down the inside of the Mercedes, and he cannot do so. They've come into contact, and that is the Alfa Romeo had to go across the grass a little bit there, and that could be championship over. Let's just get on board with these times again. So all the times seem to have disappeared for me for the time being, so hopefully they'll spring back in a few moments' time. But Donald there down in second place, and now looks like he's struggling a little bit there on the exit. 3.5 seconds back on the championship, and he could have just seen the Drivers' Championship trophy going off into the distance. 3.5 seconds behind his rival, with a 3-second time penalty to be added at the end of this Grand Prix as well. Sean in third place, heading into the pit lane, and that is unexpected there from the Haas driver. So let's see what he does. Frenzy going to be released into P3. The Aston Martin having a great battle there earlier on, coming through the field and keeping it clean, keeping his nose out of trouble, and now up into the podium positions. Where will Sean be released? Looks like the Ferrari going through, as will the Alpine of Casey Jennett. There is it in the background, it certainly is, and the lap car of Clarkey. Casey not quite able to get in front of the Haas driver there, so the Haas driver now with 1.6 to the Ferrari in front. On fresh soft tyres, should be able to dispatch the Ferrari on that soft compound tyre pretty quickly indeed, you'd expect. Let's have a look through the penalties while we've got a few moments then. From the top, Donald Jun, 3 seconds of time penalties, and that really has potentially taken away any chance he has got of a championship going to the final round. And Viper is out of this Grand Prix in the first sector there, and yellow flags, but again no safety car, which is absolutely bizarre. No safety cars out tonight. Frenzy, no penalties there in third place, but far enough behind that he won't gain a position at this moment in time from it. Your boy Bizen in fourth with 6 seconds of penalties. Sean in fifth with 3. Case Jennett in sixth with 9. Zach in seventh with 6. And Zenix Josh in 8th place with 3 second time penalties. Pro Stevie in 9th place, right on the tail there of the Alpine driver, with no penalties to date at the moment. So Josh either needs to make a move and pull out a 3-second time gap, or needs to hope that the Haas driver does pick up a penalty later on in the race. Only 5 laps left of this Grand Prix. Cobra and Con in the second Mercedes, 53 seconds behind the Haas driver there, and right down at the back of the field with just Clarkey left out there as a lapped car. And I think Clarkey's just enjoying himself out there by the looks of it now, looking to get to the end of this Grand Prix. Right, Bass on track then. Prestivi looks like he's going to try for a pass here. He is closing on the back of Zenix Josh, and 3/10 separates him. He will pick up DRS for the back straight as well. It looks like a bit of traffic up ahead. It is Zach up ahead, is it? No, it isn't. It's a lap car of Clarkey up ahead. Okay, so that's not really going to make much influence, although it does mean that Josh may well get DRS here, which will help him out for another lap. He does get DRS off the lap car of Clarkey in the AlphaTauri there, so Josh down the outside, and as will Stevie go around, but Means that Prestivi can't quite close that gap at the moment, although Zenix Josh very, very wide there. Prestivi hits the apex absolutely perfectly, rides the sausage curve a little bit on the entry, but managed to land it, and down to half a second between these two drives and the battle for 8th position as we speak. Although Prestivi and the Haas driver there might well get the position on penalties anyway, he would surely like to do it on track this evening, and he's going to have DRS again on Josh as they have the run up into turn 1. There's the DRS wide open. Josh again trying to break the toe. We saw him do this very, very well earlier on in the Grand Prix, and again Prestivi not quite able to get through on the Alpine driver. Does manage to make a little bit of an inroad, but Zenix Josh a very good exit from turn 1 there and holds position for this moment in time. This is the closest battle on track that we've got at the minute. 3.6 seconds separate our top two and the championship at the moment. Jimmy set to wrap up the Drivers' Championship tonight with a victory if he can keep it that way for these final few laps. 4 laps remaining, including the lap that we are on, and the Mercedes driver going to be very happy if he can wrap it up this evening. Mercedes and Alfa Romeo still battling it out. Alfa Romeo do lead the Constructors' Championship. Can they keep that fight alive? Well, it will definitely stay alive for the final round of the season next time out in Silverstone, so looking forward to that very much indeed. As see the Haas driver getting ever closer to the Alpine, but nothing he can do through this section. He'll be looking once again for DRS on the start finish straight and into the braking zone at turn 1. And once again I'm sure we're going to see Josh go and defend as best as he can, try and break that toe. We'll see him try and break the toe instantly as they come round this final corner. I expect to see Josh hit the left hand side quite hard to get out of the toe. There we are, he certainly does it once again. DRS wide open. No ERS usage from the Haas driver there, which is bizarre off the corner. Certainly would expect that. That may be where Zenix Josh is holding off the Haas at this moment in time, or maybe the Haas driver is comfortable in that gap behind and with the penalties to pick up that place on penalties. I'm Zach, closing up on the Alpine of Casey Jennett. Now, it's been a very quiet race from Zach. Got caught up at the start of the Grand Prix, dropped to the back of the grid. He's slowly made his way back through into the midfield, and now the Williams driver trying to get on terms with the Alpine. He's in an Alpine sandwich at the minute, but he's got a challenge just ahead, but 10 seconds clear of the second Alpine behind as he battles with Pro Stevie. And again, ever closer there to Casey Jennett in front. So this is the fight for 6th position. Now Casey is also closing in on your boy Bisner Head, who's now in 5th place. So as I said earlier on, penalties really could dictate the finishing order this evening, and that is the way it's looking to be as we enter the... Well, we've got 3 laps remain. Casey, another 3-second time penalty for Casey Jennett up in front there. And I do think if I go back to my penalty screens, there we are. Yeah, Casey currently is going to lose it or that position on penalties. Josh there picking up a 3-second time penalty as well. So Pro Stevie now pretty much guaranteed a minimum of 8th place based on penalties. Lap 26 and 28, just over 2 laps remaining. Let's jump on board with our race leaders in a few moments. Jimmy there coming through the final sector with just over 2 laps to go, and after a very hard fought race up until around lap 23 with Don Arjun, a little bit of contact, and Don Arjun looking to go up the inside during the double right-hander, and caused a little bit of contact which pushed him out onto the grass, lost his weight, and the Mercedes went free in the lead. Now 9.7 seconds up the road, and Donovan in the pit lane as we speak, so looking to take fastest lap here. He won't drop position to the Aston Martin of Frenzy. He's on his way out of the pits now, so yeah, he will hold position and looking for a fastest lap there, the Alfa Romeo driver. but it will be a comfortable victory for the Mercedes driver if he can see through these final 2 laps. No penalties on there. Donald in second place, so we'll keep an eye on him trying to go for fastest lap on his final lap. He has just been into the pit stop for this fresh set of soft tyres. Frenzy 10 seconds back in P3, and that is a little bit of no man's land there for the Aston Martin driver. Absolutely fantastic drive by him to get up into those positions. Sean in 4th place there. Again, no man's land at the minute, no competition around. He's got 3 seconds of penalties, but your boy Bizen behind with 6 means Sean pretty safe to stay there. Your boy Bizen, 6 seconds of penalties, but drive behind has 12 seconds, so again looking very secure for a solid points finish and 5th place this evening. As the race comes to the final couple of laps, Casey Jennett with 12 seconds there. Now this is a crucial battle. He has got to put 3 seconds on Zach, or hope that Zach picks up another penalty in this dying lap and a half of the Grand Prix. So all to play for here, or he might well get passed by the Williams. Zenix Josh 13.1 seconds back, so well out of harm's way. However, Pro Stevie trying to get past him, and Pro Stevie has now finally got past him, and Josh looking for the cutback there and manages it on the Haas driver. Can the Haas driver try down the inside on this occasion? And he certainly does. Sorry, just managed to flick off that there. Looks like a little bit of contact between the two, and I think Stevie should just try and tuck in there now. He is certified that he will go through and get 8th place if he can cross the line in that position. Zach has picked up another 3-second time penalty, so it has got to be done on track by the Williams driver if he wants to get through on Casey Jennett on this final lap of the Grand Prix. And round they go, entering the first sector for the final time through the twists and turns. We'll keep an eye on that as they come around, but just jump into our championship leader. All he had to do today was outscore his rival Donarjon by 5 points or more to secure the championship. Donarjon out there in second place at the moment. Even if he secures fastest lap, that will be 6 points difference. And Jimmy comes over the line to take the checkered flag. There he goes. Let's just keep an eye on the fastest lap as well. There you go, fastest lap not going to either driver at this moment in time. Donarjon coming over the line. Can he take fastest lap on this last lap? He does, a 1:32.7. So 19 points for the Alfa Romeo driver compared to 25 of Jimmy. And that is the championship wrapped up. Jimmy and Mercedes take the Drivers' Championship for Season 9. That is to be confirmed. So please hang with that. Stewards' inquiries after the race are the only thing that could prevent that. Now, Aston Martin take P3 with Frenzy. Absolutely fantastic drive through the field. Sean across the line in P4. Your boy Bizen. A little bit of a fight there with Zach on the final lap there. And Zach goes through, but more penalties. Your boy Bizen takes 5th. Zach in 6th. Casey in 7th. And the final battle on track is Zenix Josh and Pro Stevie here. Zenix Josh has got 6 seconds time penalty as well. So Pro Stevie will take P8. Zenix Josh in P9. And Carbon Con in P10 as a lap car. And final finisher for the evening, Clarky in the AlphaTauri in P11. And just waiting for final confirmation. Game says that it is a driver of the day vote for Jimmy, and I would certainly agree with that statement. Jimmy did a fantastic drive and very hard fought drive indeed there with his title rival, and just trying to get confirmation that it is the title wrapped up. I believe it is now impossible for the title to go any other way. But final standings for this evening's race at the Circuit of the Americas just coming up now. Jimmy there on top in the Mercedes from 13th to top spot. Donarjon in second place with the fastest lap of a 1:32.767. Frenzy in P3. Sean takes P4 in the Haas. Your boy Bizen in 5th place in the Soul Ferrari. 6th place to Zach in the Williams. Casey in 7th. Prestivi in 8th. And Zenix Josh in 9th in the second of the Alpines. Cobb Brincon takes 10th place, a lap down, and Clarkey, the final finisher, in P11. And we lost both McLarens and the Alfa Romeo of Collins this evening. Thank you very much for everyone who has watched tonight. Please like, subscribe, and watch out for much more content coming throughout the week. Will be another Formula 1 content tomorrow. It will be an on-board, God help everyone watching, of myself tomorrow evening. Coming to the back end of the Shadow Wolf season. Yeah, we're looking just to the Constructors title fight next week for the final round of Season 9 here for Dragon Force Racing League. And we will be at Silverstone. Thank you very much for watching. 8 o'clock next Monday for the grand finale.